Hey Keith,
Hey Jay.
you like the exotic automobile world? Are you a big fan of the Ferraris and the Ferrari family of cars? Like Lamborghinis.
Like every 14-year-old boy, you betcha. Got posters of them on my ceiling.
So you want to be just like Kid Rock, man, and smoke a cigar outside of your Lamborghini?
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah. Sure. Who's not a fan? What red-blooded?
Well, I'm a fan of fast cars. I like fast cars. I never did get into the exotics, but we're going to get into them today. I'm going to let you kind of, show me some things or tell me some things that I may not know about this. Now, however, I've done a little research on it, and I think it's really cool. I'm really glad that we got to give some cred to SIDESHOT here, right? I mean, SIDESHOT has been on you. Let's talk about this.
Well, first of all, this is doubly impressive when you consider that my kid, is who we're talking about here, is 11 and was not alive or around during the first generation of this car. So he's just a big fan of cool cars, man. He knows what a big deal the original Lamborghini Countach was.
Right.
Okay.
It was a game changer.
That's you know what that is, Jay? That's like somebody from this generation appreciating Led Zeppelin. You get it, right?
I like the analogy.
Sort of
yes.
Respect. It may not be, Ariana Grande. Jay doesn't know who that is. Do you?
I do actually know who Ariana Grande is. But, sorry that I do, but
no. But still, you can appreciate the talent there, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have this. Can we call it a second generation? The Lamborghini Countach returns.
It does, and in great fashion. I mean, we're going to get into some of the details here. It's the Lamborghini Countach LPI 800-4. Okay.
Okay.
And Stephan Winkelmann, the CEO and president of Lamborghini, he came out and he's so proud of the vehicle and very well spoken to where I could understand where he was going with this. They are definitely paying homage to the original Lamborghini Countach with the lines, and I've you see it. It's so sleek, but it's so modern, man. But there's something very special about this car that makes this extremely special. Let's talk about this.
Well, I want to get into that because it's something that we've been saying for a long time is coming. Okay, but let's just go back for a second to the amount of convincing this probably had to take at Lamborghini. So just think for a second here that you're sitting in a designer's meeting in the boardroom,
right?
And they're spitballing. Hey, this is a brainstorming session, right?
Right.
Like they probably have these weekly. I don't know, monthly, I don't know, whatever. It's probably all remote now. They're on Zoom. And somebody goes, hey, let's bring back the Countach.
Right. You're like, what?
Crickets, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean...
especially in this day and time.
So, they did. God bless them for whoever they convinced of this, because it does, like Jay said, it pays homage to the original design.
They had to convince Stephan,
and you're gonna say, "Ooh, is that a Countach?" I mean, you're gonna look at it, and you're gonna see it.
It does.
The design.
I mean, it's so very. I mean, they have kept true to the original design.
It's got
with
the
lines,
flip-up doors and
absolutely the scissor doors was what they call them, and it's got the headlights with that thin rectangular, like razor thin rectangular look to it, man. Just so incredibly sleek.
Well, and they were able to somehow combine the original hard angle boxiness of the original Countach,
right?
And they put elements of that in it.
Yes,
but it's not offensive. So Lamborghini has always been one to push design elements because of who they are, because of that whole Italian, just the artistic side. And they will sometimes be the influencer of fashion, of design in some of these automobiles, right? But this is a kind of an extreme, that Countach was very extreme, right? The original.
Yeah, it was. For the time, extremely.
Okay.
Extremely. I mean, people were thinking this is like a space type vehicle when it first came out. So here's the let's give a few key factors to this.
Okay.
First of all, this is the 50th anniversary edition. Okay. It will be delivered in 2022. This is what Stephan says, and they are all sold.
Well, they're only doing 112 of them, which is the original project name of the original
Countach. The code name was 112. That's 112. Correct. So, which I thought was really cool. And what's the price tag, Keith?
Oh my gosh, we're guessing it's in the millions. It's like 2.5 million-ish.
It's 2.64 million for each unit, and pretty incredible. But what makes this thing so special is it's still longitudinal. It's the LP, right? And posterior, basically, rear, and then the eye. Now, the eye signifies something new that they're trying with their vehicles.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it's Bolognese for hybrid, basically, is what it is. Let's talk a little bit about the hybrid aspect of what this vehicle brings to the table.
Now,
and how different it is.
Yes. So,
what's different
when
about
most of us think of hybrid in conventional automobiles,
right,
we think, okay, it's got a gasoline engine, an internal combustion engine, and then there's some sort of a battery, usually battery pack, where it can run to some extent on electricity, but usually that's battery powered electricity, and usually, not always, for those of you that are going to be quick to correct me here, but usually it's not able to power itself as an EV only, meaning, you can't just switch it over to full EV mode and get any kind of range out of it at all.
Right,
now,
exactly.
We have been saying on this program for months and months and months and months, and this kind of goes back to even before Nissan developed their thermally efficient 50% thermal efficiency engine that they're working on.
Exactly.
We've said we really think that the future generations of clean vehicles, EVs, whatever you want to call them, it's going to be in a hybrid form. And there's all kinds of reasons for that. There, from Chuck Lynch talking about, multiple fuel sources to the problem that we have with lithium batteries right now. That's really not a great long-term solution. They're not stable. They don't have good life expectancy, and blah 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 blah. So what Lamborghini is doing here is they're going, hey, how about a capacitor?
Right.
And that is what we have been saying they're going to rely on.
Did you say flux capacitor?
Right. Well, ironically, so there is a similar... It works in much the same way.
Right. Life imitating art here.
So for those of you, and this is going to be a real basic explanation because I am neither an engineer nor a physicist or Doc Brown, but capacitors essentially store large amounts of power for a short amount of time. Right.
Think of a nitrous. Think of adding nitrous to something for that extra boost to go. Well, this is it with that extra power. With just it's all electric. It's not. It's an e-assist is what it is. Basically.
Remember, Jay, when kind of in the 90s, I think they were at their peak when a lot of single ladies used to carry around the little stun zappers, the stun guns, the little... I do
recall that. Of course, I never got hit with them. I never had to have one
Well, go on YouTube and you can entertain yourself for hours of people getting...
Bug zappers, man.
What they take is, they typically take like a 9-volt battery, something like that, right? Like just your typical 9-volt battery, and they're putting out tens of thousands of volts, right? Right. Well, how do they do that? How do you take a 9-volt battery and you somehow upconvert that to be able to put multiple times that voltage out? The answer is with a capacitor, right? So it's able to kind of keep it keeps storing over the top of itself that power. And I'm going to stop here because then electricians are going to start calling me out for my lack of knowledge. But I digress. So what they're able to do with a capacitor is provide a very powerful, quick hit and transfer that energy to the wheels.
That's right. It's we had podcasts, several podcasts ago where we talked about Jeep. And they've got the new technology, which is the 4xe technology. Okay, everybody's saying, well, it's a hybrid vehicle, it don't have any range. Well, that's not the point here. You got to understand what Jeep might be using that for, okay? It's electric assist. It's additional power, right?
So in theory, if you keep that capacitor in play, it takes you can operate the engine at a lower RPM. Use the engine to produce power into the capacitor, and then use the capacitor to quickly discharge your bursts.
Right.
Now, Jay, back to your point, which Doc Brown said, the only thing that we could use to generate that much electricity is a bolt of lightning, right? It's because he didn't have a capacitor. I think, they were out of plutonium when Marty traveled back in time.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So capacitor again being the key. You joked, but you're not that far off from reality.
Right. That's right. It's very true. So, again, it's got a high price, but it is what it is in the land of hypercars, supercars. This is the cost of these things. It's a beautiful vehicle. Honestly, if I had $2.64 million just laying around for a car, I would probably try to get on that list, man.
Well, you remember with the original how guys used to like take out loans and buy one and then basically pay the loan back by offering rides for $100 a pop, and then
right,
you'd get the little photo booth, the old timey, and he'd set up his little Lamborghini. So couple other feature details. It's a 2-seater.
Right.
It's all-wheel drive. And they're estimating, and I freaking love this, and again, this goes back to the capacitor, 0 to 62 because it's the metric system. 62 miles per hour, 0 to 62 in under 3 seconds. 2.8 is what
2.8. It's incredibly fast. It's a V12 engine again.
Yep.
And the chassis, I think they took from the Sian, which is the light bolt, the 2019, I think is where that came from.
Yep.
So they were smart. They used what they had, the technology they had to build this thing. When Winkelmann was asked if the same semiconductor shortages that are going on in the auto industry is going to affect his production, he said absolutely not a problem for them, for obvious reasons.
Well, you're only doing 112.
You're only doing 112 units, so they are saying that they will be able to deliver by then. And also, he said in an interview that all of their vehicles, the 2023-2024 timeframe, will be hybrid, and that's a move towards that carbon neutrality, or lowering the carbon emissions or the carbon footprint that we have. Now, I like your point about what we said with the, technology as far as like EVs. The way to get there to carbon neutrality or lower carbons may not be the EV all the way, but the hybrid form, or in some way, shape, or form where we reduce the output of emissions from those gas engines or whatever forms of
well,
what?
And historically, this is how it works, right? So,
propulsion.
We have tried. Propulsion. We have tried a unique model in the past five to 10 years. Really, Tesla kind of pushed the envelope with, okay, well, we're going to do consumer EVs, and that's going to be our path forward. And then you get various government agency, regulatory, state governments, and so on jumping on board. Internationally, it's happening, going, this is the way forward, and we're going to ban gasoline engines by 2035, and they were all EV, and they don't have a clue how to get there yet. Okay?
Right. This is true.
But what we have historically seen as a contrast to that model, where they're trying it first in the consumer line, is your race teams and your exotic supercars, right?
Keith, we've been preaching this, my friend.
Why? Because that technology is incredibly expensive, and it would be nobody would buy it if you put it in a consumer car. They couldn't afford it. But you can afford to develop the cutting edge, bleeding edge technology in something like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. And if it doesn't work out, no skin off your 112 model, right?
Bottom line, you're absolutely correct. The people who purchase these vehicles, these supercars, these hypercars, are basically investing into the future technology. And you have to have investors out there that will help you develop this stuff and test it. So, yes, if you guys go back to a recent news segment on the Koenigsegg CEO saying basically that they're using volcano fuel to get there. I said these types of vehicles are the bridge to future consumer vehicles.
That's right. Nothing against Elon Musk. The guy's trying his best. He's done a great job with a lot of stuff, but he does not have the funding as a startup to sell enough to cover his R&D to do this kind of stuff. Now, the Roadsters, I know, you guys that are quick to point out where I've misspoke. Yeah, he's going to have a Roadster and it's going to cost a crazy amount of money, but he's still in startup mode. That's right. Tesla is, I would say they've turned a corner past that. It's now
I think so.
Publicly traded. They're transitioning out of startup mode, but it's still a very young company, and they're very closely watching their margins, and they have to hit their sales numbers.
That's exactly right. Hey, can I do this real quick? See this, guys? If you want to talk to us about this, we will be at SEMA covering that show. So make sure you reach out to us. You can do that at partscounterguru.com. There is a Ask Us a Question tab or a Contact Us tab up there. If you like this video, please make sure you click that bell and make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends. Catch us over on facebook.com/partscountergurus. We're on instagram.com/thepartscountergurus. We are on Twitter at The Counter Show is who we are. And thank you for watching this segment. We hope you can afford to buy one of these in the future.
Oh, and if you do get one, leave us a comment. Let us know.
Out.
We'll be happy to talk to you about it and what you think about it. So there you go, everybody.
Absolutely. Vroom, vroom.